You can find out the projects from quality issues. Internal quality issues are like internal failures, scrap, and the quality control defects which are found out. So that is potential area. External quality issues like product goes to the customer. There you find out the challenges at the customer end. These are the customer complaints and quality issues which are sometimes sales returns and things like that. It erodes the brand image of the company. So these are the issues which is a big source of project selection. Okay, so these are main 7 areas where we can find out internal projects and external projects. Okay, now I will explain you what do you mean by internal projects and what do you mean by external projects. Okay, it's very simple. Internal are related to the business, internal processes, internal stakeholders. External are related to the market, related to the customer. Okay, so it's very simple demarcation between internal and external project selection. Now let's understand. There are certain criteria we have to make sure that we have to follow in project selection. Project has to be meaningful. First, criteria number 1, it should be meaningful. Second is manageable. Now meaningful is, it should be meaningful to the customer, it should be meaningful to the business. And the second criteria, which is manageable, it should be within the control of the organization. Okay, so any project which is beyond the control or the root causes are going beyond your control limits should not be taken up as a project. Very, very important. Yeah, you guys, if you have any doubt, just keep a note of this. At the end of the session, last 10 to 15 minutes, we will have direct question and answer session. So you can ask me any question related to this or our courses or any career related challenges or opportunities. Yeah. So meaningful should be meaningful to the customer, should be meaningful to the business. It should be manageable. It should be within your control. You should have a firm control over the root causes of the challenge. Shouldn't go too big to handle. It should not be a world hunger project. Okay, मैं पूरी दुनिया की भूखमरी मिटा दूंगा. It should not be like that. It should be very specific and measurable. And it shouldn't be very small as well. ये बहुत ही छोटा भी नहीं होना चाहिए कि reduction of the machine noise level in a particular department. That's it. That is very small project. उसका impact भी बहुत ही कम आएगा. Of course, it will be important for the hearing loss reduction, but as far as the businesses and other things are concerned, it would be very small. So we need to understand this. It should be impacting the business in a greater way. It should be impacting the customer in a greater way. Yeah, very, very important. Yeah, this is a very important graph for us to understand. Now, this is the important and urgent metrics. Project selection, important and urgent metrics. On the y-axis is the important matrix. On the x-axis, this is urgent matrix. Okay. Now, you should always select the project which is important. Let's understand this, which is important and not very urgent, not super urgent. Let's understand this. Very, very important. You should select the project which is important to the business and the customer. Okay. So not important project should be eliminated. Probable not important project should be eliminated. And the priority should be given to the important project. And those are not too urgent projects. Now let me explain you why this is important. Urgent and important projects are generally completed in a firefighting mode. Firefighting mode. What is firefighting mode? Firefighting mode is ऑलरेडी फैक्ट्री में आग लग चुकी है और आप सिर्फ बुझाने का काम कर रहे हो. देयर इज नो एनालिसिस, देयर इज नो रूट कॉज आइडेंटिफिकेशन, देयर इज नो डेटा क्रंचिंग, देयर इज नो ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग हैपनिंग. सो दैट इज व्हाट हैपेंस इफ यू सिलेक्ट अ प्रोजेक्ट इन इंपॉर्टेंट एंड अर्जेंट क्वाड्रेंट. आर यू अंडरस्टैंडिंग? जस्ट टाइप यू, जस्ट टाइप अंडरस्टैंडिंग यू, जस्ट टाइप you. Amazing, Ashutosh. Very, very important factor we need to understand in this. If we select important and super urgent problem in our hand, we tend, thank you Yatin, thank you very much. So we tend to bypass lot of processes in DMAT. We tend to bypass project charter and data collection. So important urgent होगा तो हम लोग क्या करेंगे? Ideally there should be 4 months, 6 months data should be collected. तो हम लोग सिर्फ 10 दिन का ही data लेंगे and the data might not give us the right picture and we conclude on the wrong data and then the root causes will be different and solutions will be haywire. Okay, तो ये सब हो जाता है when we impact on when we select this quadrant, important and urgent quadrant. Okay, so it should be urgent but not too urgent. Okay, तो ये quadrant पे हमको select करना है. Very very important for us to understand. The next one is important and difficulty metrics में क्या होना चाहिए. Let's see. Okay, importance on the y-axis and difficulty on the x-axis. So importance obviously should be high. High importance project should be selected. But difficulty, it should be moderately difficult. Now let me explain what does that mean. So it should not be very easy, simple project, because see, Lean Six Sigma requires a skill set which is advanced in nature. There are certain basic and advanced statistical tools involved. There are certain communications and project management tools involved. So we are spending more resources. So those resources should not be used for a trivial projects. Are you with me? Trivial project. छोटे छोटे प्रॉब्लम्स को आइडेंटिफाई और सॉल्व करने में हम लोग ये बहुत, इट्स लाइक यू नो, हम लोग लोकल लेवल के अगर कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स होते हैं तो वी कैन नॉट कॉल आर्मी टू हैंडल दैट सिचुएशन. दैट्स व्हाट वी डू. इट इज डन बाय द लोकल पुलिस. ओके, आर्मी कब आती है एक्शन में? जब देयर इज सम अटैक फ्रॉम अ डिफरेंट नेशन और सम बिगर चैलेंज, बिगर टेररिस्ट थ्रेट और समथिंग लाइक दैट. So similarly, Lean Six Sigma projects, these resources, these methodologies, these tools are meant to solve complex problems. Okay. Now, why not too difficult problems? Understand this. Why not too difficult problems? See, too difficult problems are also identified and can be done by black belts, master black belt. But there is a caution here. The caution is, अगर आपने बहुत difficult problem ले लिए and it runs for 6 months, 8 months down the line, what happens? Lot of things change in the market. Okay, the priority change for the business, for the customer. Lot of technological advancement happens, and the requirement at the beginning of the project may not remain at that priority level at the after 6 months or 8 months down the line. So we should focus on a project which is moderately difficult, so that which is important for the business and for the customer, and we can resolve. We can utilize our capabilities of statistical analysis and complex tools, and then we can resolve that problem. So this also is very important criteria for us to understand, when we select the project. Yeah. So if you guys are okay with this, just type okay. Just type okay. Okay. So let me just go ahead. Yes. Thank you, Ashutosh. Thank you very much. Yeah. So now two types of projects. One is, yes. Thank you, Yatin. Two types of project. One is external project selection and one is internal project selection. Now, external project selection, as the name suggests, it comes from the customer or the market. Okay. Now, external way is, for example, let's talk about the source of external project selection, and the journey starts with voice of customer. Voice of customer is nothing but the data representing the views or the needs of the company's customers. Okay, so data meaning complaints, survey, comments, market research. You have feedback forms, like we have filled up the feedback form after the training program and give the feedback. All these are voices of the customer. So voices of the customer is very very important aspect for any Lean Six Sigma practitioner to understand, because the journey begins from the voice of customer. Okay, now we should translate that voice of customer into measurable requirements for the process, because generally voices of customer are very vague in nature. Let me give you a few of the examples. I'm tired of having to write check for for this loan every 2 weeks. मैं थक गया हूँ 2 वीक में चेक देने के लिए. The survey shows 47% of the customers rate our responses fair or poor. Now, fair or poor does not give me any idea about how is my service. Why don't you guys get your act together? It's a frustrated customer talking about this. The phone must have rung 6 times before I got an answer. This is like somebody is calling the call center and there are 6 times the calls are ringing, but there is nobody to answer the call. I'm not satisfied with your services. This is a typical reaction of the customer. So we have to identify what is the dissatisfaction all about. What this customer is talking about. What is he telling us? So this voice of customer, first the collection of voice of customer, okay, through these complaints, surveys, comments, market research, feedback, etc. And after that, there is a process called CTQ drill down. You can just make a note of this CTQ drill down. I'm just explaining this process of CTQ drill down. Okay, so voice of customer, once it is done, then we go to CTQ. CTQ is nothing but critical to quality. Now, what is critical to quality? Critical to quality is a measurable characteristic of the product or a service that satisfies key requirement of the customer. It can be internal customer, it can be external customer. Okay. Now let me explain this. Let's take an example of cup of tea. Now in cup of tea, what are the measurable characteristics that will satisfy the customer's requirement? One is the temperature of the cup of tea, so temperature, okay. Then the taste of the cup of tea, which will satisfy. Delivery time, the time at which that is delivered to the customer will satisfy the customer or dissatisfy. If the delivery time is more, it will dissatisfy the customer. If taste is not good, it will dissatisfy the customer. Temperature, if it's too cold or too hot, again it will dissatisfy the customer. So again, if we drill it down, let's say taste, I can drill it further down to the CTQs like quantity of sugar, quantity of milk, quantity of tea powder, as quality as well. I can say quality of sugar, quality of milk, quality of tea powder. These are also critical measurable characteristics of the product which satisfies the key requirement. So I have temperature, I have taste, I have delivery time. These are three main. And in taste, I have quantity of sugar, quantity of milk, and quantity of tea powder. I can simply say the same thing for the quality as well. Quality of sugar, quality of milk, quality of powder. Anything changes. If quantity of sugar changes, my taste will change. If quality of sugar changes as well, some different brand I have used, my taste might change. Same goes with the quantity and quality of the milk as well. I started using different quality of milk. I might get a different flavor of my taste of tea. So you have these CTQs identified. So we have to identify from the voice of customer, we have to identify what are those critical to quality attributes which are important for the customer. That is point number 2, stage number 2. So external way of project identification, first we collect the voice of customer. Then from voice of customer, we drill down to the what exactly will satisfy the customer. That is called CTQ. Okay. Then we move to the next one. So after we identify the CTQ, then we finalize the specification limit, which is called voice of design. Voice of design is nothing but specification limits. Okay. अभी specification limits की क्या जरूरत है? Can somebody type or can somebody unmute and tell me why specification limits are required? Yes, you can type or you can unmute. Why do we need specification limits? अगर specification limits नहीं दिए गए तो उसकी क्या जरूरत है? मतलब क्या होगा अगर specification limits are not there?
If the specifications are not mentioned properly, then maybe the way we are making the product, or the tolerance levels, will not be able to judge it in the proper way, because there is certain error that margin that we need to give across. So to define that, we need to have the definitions.
Perfect. Very good. Thank you. So let's understand this. Now, during our yellow belt training program, we have understood one law of nature, that variation is nature of nature. Okay, we cannot hit every time the target every time. So there has to be some variability, there has to be some window, some range which customer is accepted to. Okay, and that range is nothing but a specification limit, and that is derived from the requirement of the customer. So customer defines this specification limit. We just convert that from voice of customer to a actual specification limit in a quantity. Okay, let's take an example. So voice of customer is translated into measurable operational technical specification. That is called voice of design or specification limit. It is also known as engineering tolerances. So voice of customer, same simple example, let's say tea at right temperature. Now tea at right temperature is again a vague voice of customer. मुझे सही टेम्परेचर वाला टी चाहिए, गर्मा गर्म चाय चाहिए, लेकिन व्हाट इज गर्मा गर्म, व्हाट डज दैट मीन? So it is not measurable and generic voice of customer. So we convert that into a specific design specification or engineering tolerances, which is 60 degrees Celsius plus or minus 5, which becomes measurable and specific. Let's go to the next slide and understand this. Now, if 60 degree is the exact target which is acceptable by the customer, we give minus 5, which is 55 degrees centigrade, and plus 5, which is 65 degrees centigrade as a specification limit. So what is our goal? Goal is to hit every product, whatever is delivered to the customer, the cup of tea should fall in between 55 to 65. If it does not fall between 55 to 65, it is called defect, and that will cause customer dissatisfaction. Okay, clear? Yeah, yahan tak clear hai? So from voice of customer, we identified critical to quality CTQ, एंड फॉर ईच एंड एवरी CTQ हम लोग टेस्ट के लिए भी CTQ डिफाइन कर सकते हैं, कस्टमर को कितना टॉलरेंस चाहिए. अगर टेस्ट का रेटिंग हम लोग ने ऑन द स्केल ऑफ 1 to 10 दिया, एंड टारगेट शुड बी 8 एंड स्पेसिफिकेशन लिमिट शुड बी 9 to 7 आर द स्पेसिफिकेशन लिमिट. सो योर टेस्ट शुड फॉल इन बिटवीन 7 to 9 ऑलवेज, ऑल द टाइम. इफ इट डजंट फॉल, देन इट इज अ डिफेक्ट. ओके, दिस इज जस्ट एन एग्जांपल, a raw example I'm giving. So every critical to quality attribute, you can define the specification limit. Okay. Now the next thing is defect opportunity. Okay. Now let's understand what is defect opportunity. The various ways by which a product or service can be defective, that is called defect opportunity. Let me explain this. Let's take an example of coffee mug. Coffee mug में वो लीकेज हो सकता है, वहां पे ग्लेजिंग या फिनिशिंग ब्लेमिशेस हो सकते हैं, बिकॉज इट इज मेड अप ऑफ लेट्स से सम सिरेमिक मटेरियल. ये सब ब्लेमिशेस उसमें आ सकते हैं. मिसशेपन कंटेनर हो सकता है, उसका शेप कंटेनर का प्रॉपर नहीं बन सकता, दैट इज अ डिफेक्ट अपॉर्चुनिटी. हैंडल मिसशेपन हो सकता है, उसका हैंडल इट कैन बी मिसशेपन व्हाइल द मेकिंग प्रोसेस, और दैट कैन बी ब्रोकन व्हाइल ट्रांसपोर्टेशन और व्हाइल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, इट कैन बी ब्रोकन और क्रैक्ड. सो दीज आर सर्टेन डिफेक्ट अपॉर्चुनिटी. ओके. Now let me give you a small example of a, let's say, Bisleri bottle. Now in Bisleri bottle, what are the defect opportunity? Let's say the cap is not fitting. It can be one, if it is unfitting cap, it is loose cap, it is not fitting properly, or the seal is broken already, it's a defect opportunity. The label is already torn label can be another defect opportunity. If there is some leakage at the top, defect opportunity. The water has some contamination, of course. These are very high standard production lines. So, but there could be other company where a defect comes in the bottle, and we have seen certain examples in the past as well. So in one bottle, one piece, we have got 5, let's say, defect opportunities. Now, if you remember, when we understood the definition of Six Sigma, the Six Sigma is 3.4 defect per million defect opportunities. Understand this. It means, let's say my product has 10 defect opportunities. Okay. So every product, when I produce one product, it has 10 defect opportunities associated. Are we clear? Every product, every bottle will have 10 defect opportunities. So when I produce 1 lakh bottles, it means I have produced 10 lakh defect opportunities. There are 10 lakh types of defects which can occur. And out of 10 lakhs, if I measure, if 3.4 defects come, that means my process is a Six Sigma process. Clear? Yeah. So defect opportunity is the opportunity or the various ways in which product or service can be defective. If any of the defect comes, that makes the product defective, unusable. It cannot be used by the or consumed by the customer. Okay. So defect opportunity. So we have collected voice of the customer, identified CTQ, defined the specification limit. Anything which goes beyond the specification limit calls defect. So what are the defect opportunities? We identify the defect opportunities, and that defect opportunities, my friends, can give birth to the project. That is what a project Y is all about. What is Project Y? Project Y is specific measurable improvement drill down from the voice of customer. Okay, so from the voice of customer we drill down to the CTQ, from CTQ we drill down to the defect opportunities, from the defect opportunities we find out the Project Y, which is our project, our Lean Six Sigma project. Okay, now these are the characteristics of Project Y. Project Y should be measurable first, it should be controllable, again it should be measurable, it should be controllable, and it should be tractable. What is tractable? Tractable means it should have alignment with the voice of customer. Okay, it should have alignment with the voice of customer. Yeah, so let's take an example. I'll give you a couple of examples just to clarify this concept. So these guys have taken voice of customer of a restaurant, okay, or a hotel. So what customers of a hotel or a restaurant food require? On-time delivery, it should be clean and hygienic, and food should be tasty. These are the three basic requirements of any customer. So these are basically critical to quality attributes. Okay. Now, so let's break it down three separately. One is preparing the hot food, so temperature comes into picture. Second would be served on time, that will be the second one, which is broken down. Third one is clean cutleries or hygiene comes into picture. The surrounding is very hygienic and clean and neat. Fourth could be the taste of the food as well. So fourth defect opportunity could be if that food is not tasty. Okay. So what is why? The project would be delivering food at the right temperature. Second could be the delivery time, order to delivery time. Third could be the cleanliness. Fourth could be the taste of the food. So these are four categories or four types of projects I have identified. So what I will do, let's go to the first project, food at the right temperature. So I'll collect the data and find out what temperature are we serving the food to the customer. And if I find there is some deviation, then I will take up a project in that. Okay, I will collect data for, let's say, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. If there is no data available, I will put a system to collect the data, and then I will identify the project. Second one is order to delivery lead time. So I will collect the data for order to delivery as well. And then from there, I will select the project if there is a variation, and I will try and squeeze that order to delivery lead time. Then I will collect the data of the cleanliness. I will take the feedback from the customer. How is the hygiene? How is the cleanliness? How much would you rate? And from that data, I will start to improve that rating. From, let's say, 6 or 7, we would try and improve it to 9 and 10. Okay, and same goes to the taste of the food. So that's how from the voice of customer we can drill it down to the projects. Okay, that is another way of external way of identifying the projects. Okay, guys, clear? Okay, I'll give you another example, a simple example. Yeah, Shutosh. So fifth could be also that right food served at the right customer. Exactly, amazing. So this is a defect opportunity. टेबल नंबर 4 ने वेजिटेरियन ऑर्डर दिया है, टेबल नंबर 5 ने नॉन वेजिटेरियन ऑर्डर दिया है, and you have the swipe. It will be disaster. Amazing example, Ashutosh. Exactly. So it is a defect opportunity. So you collect the data of such incidents. Okay, you note them down, and then reduction of those incidents, that could be your project. Okay, amazing, fantastic. So I'll give you another example. एक सर्वे किया गया था FM radio channels का. Okay, so the survey, the summary of the survey was, voice of customer says nowadays FM radio channels are filled up with crap and less music. Okay, filled up with the jokes and the advertisement. And see, basically we listen to the FM channels for music, right? To refresh ourselves. It's according to our likings. We like the classical music and Hindi or English or old songs, new songs, latest songs, whatever it is. So according to our own choice, we listen to the specific channels. But basically, we are music lovers, and we love to have more music running rather than the interviews and the advertisements and that RJ keeps on blah blah blah. It goes on. So that was a very strong voice of the customer. So from the voice of customer, they drill it down to the CTQ. The CTQ was very clear. The CTQ says. So CTQ says more number of songs. Very simple, more number of songs. And other CTQ could be the latest songs. Let's say a new generation would like latest song, the fast track songs, etc., to have more energy going. So more number of songs per hour. Okay. So defect opportunity, they have identified that if you broadcast less than 10 songs in an hour, okay, let's take on an average the song goes for 2.5-3 minutes, or maybe 3.5 minutes. So you have to at least broadcast 10 songs in an hour. If you cannot broadcast those many songs in 1 hour, that is a defect that will create dissatisfaction to the customer. So running those kinds of songs on a continuous basis is one of the project coming out of the voice of the customer. So it is measurable, it is controllable, it is in the control, and it is tractable to the voice of the customer. So project should solve the voice of the customer, should satisfy the customer at the end of it. Okay. So anything coming from the customer is called external way of identifying the project. Okay. And once we have all the voice of customers and CTQs and everything, projects are identified, there is one beautiful model which is called Canon Model. Okay. Which is for the prioritization of it. Okay. Let's understand what is Canon Model and move ahead. Now, Canon Model is invented by Noriaki Kano, Dr. Noriaki Kano. Noriaki Kano is very well known for this model, and he's a quality guru from Japan. I had privilege to meet him at Delhi. He had visited Delhi. It's a very 15-year-old story. Now understand this. Canon Model says there are 3 types of feature you have in your product or services. What are those 3 types of features? One is the basic feature. Second one is the performance feature, and third one is the delighter feature. Let's understand what is basic, what is performance, and what is delighter feature. Okay. Now let's take a look at the model itself. Understand this. This model says the y-axis is customer dissatisfied, and on the top there you have a satisfied customer. Okay. On the horizontal axis you have services dysfunctional. Services are not provided, or the functions are not provided in the product or services. On the extreme right hand side you have services are fully functional. Okay. Now let's understand this. Now when you have a basic needs of the customer which are not fulfilled, now let's understand what is basic need. If I have a marker, I had a marker here, and somebody, for example, if I have a marker, a whiteboard marker with me, can somebody tell me what is the basic performance, what is the basic must be characteristic of this? What is the basic expectation from the customer? Yeah, you should write. Exactly, it should write. Now, if I open this, if I purchase it from the market, if I open it and write it, it doesn't write, so absolutely it will dissatisfy the customer. Correct? So basic characteristics are why the product and services are made. That is the basic characteristics of the customer. So the water bottle, it should contain the water. If there is a leakage, if that water is contaminated inside, it is a basic needs are not fulfilled. So customer is going to be dissatisfied, right? So this is how Cano says basic needs or must be characteristics. This should be, it has to be there in the product. The second needs, Cano says, is performance needs, which are one-dimensional in nature. What does that mean? Let's understand this. Performance needs are, now for example, let's say the same example. This should be writing, it should be written on, it should write on the board is a basic need. Performance need could be, company says this will run for 2 months. If you use it every day, it will run for 2 months. Okay. And in reality, it runs for 3 months. Are you understanding this? It runs for 3 months. So whatever is given by the customer, the product or service is outperforming that specification, which is good for this. This is the one-dimensional performance need. Okay. So more you give in this, that's what that arrow is going about this. More customer will be satisfied if you exceed the said specification. If you say this will run for 2 months and it runs for 3 months, great, fantastic. Okay. Let's go to the next one, which is called excitement needs or delighter. Now, what is delighter? Delighter is, let's say if I open this, and there is something amazing aroma or smell comes out of this, or some music of a classical music comes out of this pen, or some light comes out of this pen. This is called a delight. A customer will say, wow, I did not pay for this, but company is paying, company is giving me these kinds of characteristics. Customer will be delighted. Okay, so this is what the delighter characteristics are. Okay, so you have given certain things, certain definitions of it. Must be a requirement that can dissatisfy but cannot increase satisfaction. So must be characteristic. कितनी भी बार आपने पेन खोला और लिखा, कस्टमर विल नॉट बी वाव ये लिख रहा है, ऐसे नहीं बोलेगा. कस्टमर विल बी सेटिस्फाइड ओनली. कस्टमर विल बी ओके, चलो लिख रहा है, मैंने लिया, लिख रहा है, हैप्पी. ओके, वन डायमेंशनल और satisfier will be more you will give, more satisfaction it will give. It's like, more it will, the duration, the life will be more, customer will be happy. Delighter will be, that's I gave you example of bulb or music or some aroma that will delight the customer, which is not expected. Okay, so some of the example given in this is leak proof mineral water, braking system in the car. So अगर कार आप चला रहे हो और ब्रेक लग रहा है, तो you will not be delighted, wow ब्रेक लग रहा है. It's a basic need. It is a basic characteristic of a car. Car should be stopped by applying the brake. Very basic, right? One dimensional will be the interest rate of the bank. If the interest rate of the bank is reducing over the period of time, that will be the one dimensional. Fuel economy. If a company is earlier they used to make 20 kilometer per liter cars. Now they have started making 30 kilometers per liter car. It's improving fuel economy that will satisfy the market, satisfy the customer. Delighter would be if you enter in a bank and you have account opening across any counter. There are 10-15 counters across. You can sit anywhere and open the account in 2 minutes. That is the delighter characteristic. Okay. So Cano क्या बोलते हैं? Understand this. The main essence of Cano model, and this is the bulb on moment. Okay. If you understand this, it is a bulb on moment. बहुत सारे कंपनीज जिनके बेसिक must be characteristics are not in place, okay, they go for delighter characteristics. When the must be characteristics are not in place, Cano says you should find out projects in your must be characteristics and fix them first. Do not go for one dimensional. Improvement के लिए मत जाइए, पहले must be characteristic के प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करिए, बाद में improve one dimensional केस करिए. अगर ये दोनों भी satisfy हो गए, then you go for the delighter level. Otherwise you do not go. Please do not go. Your customer will be dissatisfied. आपके basic characteristics को आप पहले fulfill करिए. That is what Cano says, and it gives absolute clarity. अगर आपकी कोई project है जो must be characteristic के related है, those are your priority number 1 projects. Any project related to the one dimensional characteristic जो कि improvement related है, और भी आगे जाएंगे, that is the second priority projects. And anything which is a delighter, हम लोग customer को ये करेंगे, वो देंगे. When your basic needs are not satisfied, Cano says, sir, sorry, आप ये मत करिए, go for the basic needs first. Okay, that's how first we identify the basic needs, then one dimensional, and then the delighter. Okay, that is the Cano model, very simple and effective. Okay, and over a period of time, what happens is basic needs become the delighter needs. Delighter needs become the basic needs of the product itself. If you start giving delighter needs, वो customer की habit बन जाती है, and that becomes a basic requirement of the customer. जैसे पहले AC and non-AC car segment में आती थी, अभी non-AC car is out. Every car is become AC cars now. Okay, so that once upon a time AC car was a delighter factor. Okay, now it has become a basic characteristic of a product. So this is the Cano model, very very effective and powerful to identify the external project and prioritize the external project. Now comes to the internal project. Okay, ये हो गया external coming from the market, from the customer, you identify the project why. Now what is internal project? Internal project is, now this is the process of identifying the internal project. So you sit with the top management in the boardroom. सभी HODs को हम लोग लेके आते हैं, बिठाते हैं, and then we brainstorm on the business issues. We come with the data, okay, and then we identify the pain areas. ये जनरली प्रोजेक्ट आइडेंटिफिकेशन वर्कशॉप में हम लोग करते हैं. Then we identify the pain areas, and वो pain area कौन से प्रोसेस स्टेप में है, then we identify. So the processes we identify in which we have that pain, okay, And for each and every process, we identify throughput yield. Okay, let me explain what is throughput yield later. And once we identify throughput yield, जिसका throughput सबसे कम है, okay, उसमें हम लोग deep जाते हैं and we identify defect opportunities. Then we apply Pareto principle 80-20, which we have learned already, and then we prioritize our project one. Okay, this is the long process of internal project identification. Okay, so let's understand this one by one. Let's understand what is. So first you identify this. ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग हो गया, पेन एरिया आइडेंटिफाई कर लिया आपने, प्रोसेस स्टेप्स को भी फाइनलाइज कर लिया कि ये मेरे प्रोसेस स्टेप्स है, इसमें मुझे प्रोजेक्ट करना है, इसमें मुझे पेन यहां से निकालना है. So then we do a L1 level of process mapping. L1 is level 1 level of process mapping, which is we call it as macro level. Okay, so there are L1, L2, L3, L4. There are various levels of process mapping, out of which we do a L1 level of process mapping, where P1, P2, P3, P4, and P5 are the processes. Okay, sequential processes. Inputs will come in P1, उसके बाद में उसका आउटपुट जाएगा P2 को, P2 का आउटपुट जाएगा P3 को, P3 का आउटपुट जाएगा P4 को, and so on so forth. P5 के बाद प्रोडक्ट बाहर निकलेगा, कस्टमर के पास जाएगा. Okay, this is how the process mapping is done. Then the next step is we identify the throughput yield. Now throughput yield is nothing but whatever is, so this is output divided by input. For example, let's say this is the painting example. ये paint shop है, and paint shop में ये 5 processes है. What are the processes? Surface preparation is the first process, pre-coating is the second process, lead coating is the third process, primer application is the fourth process, and then the final painting is the fifth process. So these are the 5 stages of the paint shop. Okay. Now in the surface preparation, I put 10 pieces of my products, out of which 97 comes first time right. Now this is the definition of yield. Yield is nothing but first time right product. अगर मेरे 100 प्रोडक्ट अंदर गए, 97 comes out first time right, no defects at all. That is called 97% yield or 0.97. Okay, so surface preparation का yield है 97% or 0.97. Then it goes to the next process, which is pre-coating. बाकी के तीनों का क्या होता है? Then बाकी के 3 जाते हैं अपने रिवर्क एरिया में, उसको सिर्फ रिवर्क किया जाता है, फिर से उसको सरफेस प्रिपरेशन पे डाला जाता है. ओके, सो दैट इज द रिवर्क लूप, which is called hidden factory in cost of poor quality calculation. We will discuss that about. Okay, then what happens after that? It goes to pre-coating area. Pre-coating में हम लोग 94% yield में चल रहे हैं, which is 100%. अगर 100 products अंदर चले गए, 94 product come out as first time right. बाकी के 6 को फिर से रिवर्ट करना पड़ता है, फिर से कोटिंग करना पड़ता है, फिर से प्री कोटिंग करना पड़ता है. ओके, देन कम्स द लीड कोटिंग, which is 93%, 7% goes in the revert. Primer is 93 again, and the painting has got around 60% only yield. So painting में जितने जाते हैं प्रोडक्ट, only 60% comes out as the first time right, 40% को फिर से रिप्रोसेसिंग करना पड़ता है. Now what is the rolled throughput yield? We have identified the throughput yield. Throughput yield is output divided by input. Okay, that is the throughput yield. Rolled throughput yield is the multiple, the product of all throughput yields. Like 97% multiplied by 94%, multiplied by 93%, multiplied by 93%, multiplied by 60%, which is nothing but 47%. You can see first time pass yield is 47%, which means surface preparation में मैंने अगर 100 pieces डाले, only 47 will come out of the painting with first time right. That is called rolled throughput yield. Okay, clear? Just type clear if you have understood this. Okay, so if you guys are senior enough, so you will understand this very easily. Okay, and you guys are from the manufacturing, and you have that background as well. Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. So what is the next step? Next step is identify the lowest yield process, which is painting. Okay, उसको लो, उसमें अंदर डीपली जाओ, जैसे कि हम लोगों ने किया था हमारे एक्सपेंस प्रोजेक्ट में. फर्स्ट वी डिड द पैरेटो एनालिसिस, एंड आफ्टर ईच एंड एवरी line item we went deep into it. Thanks Yatin, thank you very much. So then we identify what are the defects which are coming in painting. We collect the data in painting only, what are the defects? So उसमें से जो lowest yield वाला area which is painting, we identify that, we take out data from that, and then जो पैरिटो में पहले 20% आएंगे वो हमारे प्रोजेक्ट्स होंगे. Okay, guys, we are in the project identification. So this is how we are identifying internally the projects. These are from the internal processes. पहले हम लोगों ने देखा externally from the voice of customer. We identified CTQs, we identified defect opportunities. From defect opportunity, we identified the project. Internally हम लोग क्या करते हैं, ब्रेनस्टॉर्म करते हैं, पेन एरियाज आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं, पेन एरियाज के प्रोसेसेस कौन से हमको इंप्रूव करने वो आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं. वी फाइंड आउट, वी मैप द प्रोसेस L1 लेवल, देन वी फाइंड आउट द yield, throughput yield of each and every process, and roll throughput yield also calculated. The lowest throughput yield process is taken, we go deep into it, collect the data, we do Pareto analysis. After Pareto analysis is done, we identify the projects. The top 20% contributors of the defects are your products. Very, very powerful method. This is we are using in all consulting formats, guys. All consulting formats. We go in the company, we collect the data in the same fashion, we identify the lowest throughput yield, and then we attack on that. Okay, that is how the projects are identified. तो एक यहाँ पे मैंने Pareto का example भी दिया हुआ है. The following chart is to identify the defects which are observed while processing checks in a reputed bank. So you can see the Pareto misspelled names and wrong account number. ये दोनों ही almost 80%, 78.7%, almost close to 80% they are contributing. So reduction of misspelled names and reduction in wrong accounting number are your two projects. These are two projects identified. If you improve on that, your 40-50% of the defects are reduced or eliminated. Okay, so this is the internal way of identifying the project. Yeah, fantastic. So after identifying the internal and external way, then we have a prioritization matrix. Now what is prioritization? Now let's see, it's obviously difficult to process all the projects. You have a laundry list of the projects, okay, and you cannot go to solve all the problems at one go, and it is not advisable. In the first phase of Six Sigma journey, we generally suggest you take 4 to 5 projects, meaningful, manageable projects, and then we give training to the people, and then we prepare team and project charter as we have defined in our project as well, in our yellow belt, and then we coach and guide them. That's how the consulting happens. Okay, so this is the prioritization matrix. Now a sample I will show you, but you can define your own prioritization matrix according to your company. Okay, now let's understand what is prioritization matrix. Let's see this. Now this is, let's say, project A, project B, project C. So this is a laundry list of the project we have on the x-axis, on the column, first column. Okay, and we have a criteria of prioritization we have selected. Now for this particular company, they have cost of implementation is the number one criteria, priority. Feasibility, whether the project is feasible or not, that is the second priority. Criticality is the third one, which is the machine alternative. If do we have any machine alternative available, or criticality of availability of the spare. If spare is not available, it becomes more critical for them. That is their fourth criteria. Then importance to the business is their fifth criteria. You can add importance to the customer and cost of implementation or whatever is feasible or fitting to your organization, your need, you can add them. Okay, then you give rating on the scale of 1 to 5. For example, cost of implementation. Agar cost of implementation बहुत ही कम है, that project will take 5 marks. Okay, so here this project cost of implementation is very low, so they have taken 5 marks. Okay, feasibility, this is the moderately feasible, so they have taken 3 marks. Criticality, in this case it is very critical, so they have taken 4 marks. Availability of the spares, now 1 to 5. Now 5 is spares are not available at all. That kind of criticality they will give 5 marks. In this case spares are fairly available, so उन्होंने कम marks दिया है. Okay, so they have given 2 marks. Importance to the business, they have given a moderate, so it is moderately important to the business. So what we have to do is we have to take the product of all these things, A multiplied by B into C into D into E, so it comes to 360. So this same process we do it for all the project list, and the top priority, top 4 to 5 projects are selected in the journey. Okay, so this is how internally we can select the project, Externally, we can select the project, and then we can prioritize those projects, and then we can start our journey of Six Sigma implementation, Lean Six Sigma implementation. Generally, green belt level projects, guys, which takes around 3 to 4 months time, because see, these guys are green belts are not full timers. Generally, black belts are full time employees. They only do projects and they take care of complex projects in hand. Okay, green belt are moderate projects, moderate complex projects. So, and these guys have their own what roles and responsibilities in the company, and after solving that, they spare around 10 to 15% of their own time every day on the project, and then they complete the project. That's where it takes 3 months of time. Otherwise, it can be completed in 1 month or 2 months as well, as requirement. If it is very urgent, then it can be shrink down as well. It's quite possible. We have a rapid mechanisms to shrink down the project cycle as well. Okay, so I think this is what I had to explain you about identification of the projects. Now I am absolutely open for the question and answer. Any question related to project identification, related to Six Sigma, Lean, related to the career, related to our courses, related to a belt hierarchy or whatever, or consulting rather overall. Yes, guys, the floor is yours. You can ask anything. You can start your mic, start your videos, and you can just discuss. Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to add something.
Sure. Yes, Yatin.
So now by external project identification, part 1, what you have mentioned is about the importance and urgency, right?
Yes, I'll go to that. Yeah, I'll go to that. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sure, this one.
So
Okay.
not too urgent and important.
Yes.
And there is a marking done for early projects.
Yes.
So now what happens here is maybe it is not important but urgent.
Okay.
So in this case, maybe the company or the process which needs to be focused upon needs to be firefighting, definitely.
Yes, absolutely.
So
whenever there is urgency, it will always be firefighting mode. Yes.
Definitely. But in that case, if some kind of a process is delivered, would it be delightful, or we can say delightful to clients, so that it can be in a mainstream of not urgent and important again?
Now, again, the question itself suggests, if it is not important, let's understand this. If it is not important to the customer, if it is not so important to the business as well, if both these ticks are yes, not important, then management will not be keen to take up that project. See, understand this. If you are doing a project, or let's say Yatin is a consultant, okay? Now, why would a company pay Yatin 20 lakh rupees or 15 lakh rupees or 30 lakh rupees to solve a non-important project? They will never do that. Okay. Even their internal resources also they will not utilize, because any organization would always have important and urgent and non-urgent projects. Okay. So non-important comes into last priority. What is done generally in this case, Yatin, is see, there are belt hierarchies we have. Okay. So generally, not important projects we generally give for yellow belt people, okay, or Kaizen related people like that. Okay, the people who are just learning, they are new learners. For them, we give this project. Let's take this project, do it in 2 couple of weeks or 1 month, and then we encourage them. Small what you can say successes. We encourage them to do it more. Okay, but not important projects, as a consultant, if you really see, it is not given to the consultant at all. And not even to the Green Belt Six Sigma project, Green Belt Six Sigma qualified people, because see, Six Sigma qualified people are, first of all, they are very highly packaged, highly salaried. Okay, so company would always want to utilize. It's like they're the main guns to solve the problem. तो उनके जो main guns है वो उनको main problems को solve करने के लिए ही वो utilize करने चाहिए. Okay, so this is very important for us to understand.
Understood. Thanks a lot.
And you know what happens is, if company comes out with a non-important problem in front of you, तो ये हमारा duty बनता है to shift their focus to more important problem. Sometimes what happens, let's say I'm a CEO of the company. I'm immersed into my routine firefighting, okay, or I'm immersed into my routine, what can I say, customer complaints, and my efficiencies are down, etc. etc. People problems are there. So there could be certain blind spots. और हम लोग जब बाहर से देखते हैं तो हमारा ये कर्तव्य है कि वो ब्लाइंड स्पॉट्स को हटा दे और क्लाइंट को बता दे कि बॉस, आपको यहाँ पे नहीं, आपको यहाँ पे फोकस करना चाहिए, ये आपको ज्यादा यील्ड देगा, ये आपको ज्यादा फास्ट ट्रैक ग्रोथ देगा. ओके, सो दैट इज आवर रोल एज वेल. ये क्लाइंट को सेटिस्फैक्शन देता है बहुत ज्यादा टाइम. या बट गुड क्वेश्चन.
थैंक्स अ लॉट.
Yes. Any other question? Any other question about this? I will share all this PDF document project selection ka. It will be a part in our greenbelt define phase as well. Some of this is the gist of it. इसके बाद भी बहुत कुछ है, which will be a part which will be given to you. Yeah. Yes, Nishant, Ashutosh, Smita, if you want to ask any question, you can just go ahead. Any question. Project identification is very, very crucial. Yeah.
Maybe one more thing, where when we were on the internal project part.
Yes.
You have demonstrated.
I'll go there. Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah. So now.
Yes.
Here. Okay. When we split it down, that the P1, P2, the primer and the painting part.
Yes, this one.
Here.
Yes.
Here I just wanted to know that the rolled throughput yield particularly.
Correct.
Which was just means of course at surface preparation the yield was 97%.
Correct.
So each and every stage has its own percentage of completion or first time output.
First time right. Correct. FTR. It is called FTR. Yes.
So now here the first pass yield was calculated as 47%
of the entire system.
Which consists of 5 processes demonstrated here.
Correct. Absolutely correct.
And maybe the next slide, can you please jump on?
Yes.
Now here then the identification was done as the painting was the lowest yielding job.
Correct. Absolutely right.
So based on the data of each and every stage, the yield was calculated, and
correct.
Out of that yield,
the lowest yield process is selected as a priority.
Yes, as a priority.
Correct. Perfect.
Can you please explain how this 80-20 principle is applied on that graph wherein frequency and defect opportunities are mapped in X1?
Correct. Very good example. So यहाँ तक clear है. पूरे वैल्यू चेन को हम लोगों ने प्रोसेस यील्ड में कैलकुलेट किया, एंड उसमें से तो वीकेस्ट लिंक है. सी द स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ द चेन इज डिफाइंड बाय द वीकेस्ट लिंक. ओके, तो हमारे इस केस में पेंटिंग वाज आवर वीकेस्ट लिंक, जिसमें सिर्फ यील्ड 60% है. 100 पीसेस इन, 60% आउट ऑन एफटीआर. नाउ इसमें क्या करना है, पेंटिंग में हमको डेटा कलेक्ट करना है. व्हाट टाइप ऑफ डिफेक्ट्स आर कमिंग इन पेंटिंग. ओके, पेंटिंग डिपार्टमेंट में, पेंटिंग सेक्शन में कौन से डिफेक्ट के कारण हमारे रिजेक्शंस हो रहे हैं. सो विल कलेक्ट द डेटा. ऑब्वियसली देयर वुड बी डेटा अवेलेबल. अगर नहीं डेटा अवेलेबल है तो हम लोगों को डेटा ये एनालिसिस करना पड़ेगा, डेटा कलेक्शन सिस्टम बिठाना पड़ेगा, एंड वी हैव टू कलेक्ट द डेटा ऑफ कौन सा डिफेक्ट है और कितने फ्रीक्वेंसी में आ रहा है. ओके, तो सिमिलर टू व्हाट वी हैव सीन इन आवर एक्सपेंस रिडक्शन प्रोजेक्ट. ओके, वी हैड एक्सपेंसेस एज आवर डिफेक्ट्स and the quantity was the amount, 50,000 रुपए EMI है मेरा, 30,000 रुपए EMI है क्रेडिट कार्ड का, ये है हमारी क्वांटिटी. सिमिलरली यहाँ पे पेंटिंग के कौन से टाइप ऑफ डिफेक्ट्स है, दैट विल बी ऑन आवर एक्स एक्सिस. ऑन आवर वाई एक्सिस व्हाट इज द फ्रीक्वेंसी, व्हाट इज द क्वांटिटी. ओके, एंड दैट्स वेयर इसका जो एग्जांपल मैंने एक बैंक का दिया हुआ है, तो उन्होंने ऐसे किया. तो बैंक के ये डिपार्टमेंट में रिजेक्शंस हो रहे थे, बहुत सारे चेक्स रिजेक्शंस. ओके, तो चेक रिजेक्शन उन्होंने डेटा निकाला. सबसे ज्यादा कौन सा रिजेक्शन हो रहा है, तो मिसस्पेल्ड नेम्स, रॉन्ग अकाउंट नंबर, ये दोनों में सबसे ज्यादा डिफेक्ट आ रहे हैं. तो एज ए सिक्स सिग्मा प्रैक्टिशनर हमारा काम है कि ये दोनों है प्रॉब्लम्स व्हिच आर कमिंग वेरी फ्रीक्वेंटली, व्हिच इज कंप्राइजिंग ऑलमोस्ट 80% ऑफ द टोटल डिफेक्ट. इसको हमको प्रायोरिटी में लेना है. दैट इज व्हाट इज शोइंग हियर एज अ रिप्रेजेंटेटिव 80-20 प्रिंसिपल करके. ये जो टॉप के 2-3 है, ये हमारे 2 या 3 प्रोजेक्ट बनते हैं पेंटिंग डिपार्टमेंट.
Understood. Now I understood that graph that
Yes.
the defect opportunities are from the painting itself.
Perfect.
So there are maybe more than 5 or 6 or 7 defect opportunities.
Correct.
And out of those defect opportunities, the highest defect is
Yes.
the frequency of the highest is map.
Is
Lowest
our
is
yes,
map.
that is our project. That is our first project. Second
Wow.
highest is our second project. Third highest is our third project. Let's take these
Yes.
three, and that is becoming your list of projects from the internal side. Okay.
Correct.
Now
I got.
let's understand this. Let's understand this. अगर मैंने प्री कोटिंग में प्रोजेक्ट किए, सो प्री कोटिंग में भी 94% यील्ड है, वहां पे भी डिफेक्ट्स आ रहे हैं. लेकिन अगर मैंने प्री कोटिंग में यील्ड में प्रोजेक्ट किए, सेम एफर्ट्स मुझे डालने पड़ेंगे, मुझे डिफाइन करना पड़ेगा, प्रोजेक्ट टीम बनाना पड़ेगा, ट्रेनिंग देना पड़ेगा, डेटा कलेक्शन, ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग, कॉज एंड इफेक्ट, रूट कॉज एनालिसिस, देन वैलिडेशन, डिजाइन ऑफ एक्सपेरिमेंटेशन, सो मेनी थिंग्स वी हैव टू डू. और उसका इंपैक्ट कितना आएगा? इंपैक्ट उसका आएगा ओनली 3%. ओके, बट अगर मैंने पेंटिंग में काम किया तो उसका इंपैक्ट आएगा 20-30% ऑन द यील्ड.
And important part is, I think that even if the first 4 processes are 99%, maybe still painting is throwing out 60%.
Exactly. And that is the weakest link which have to be attacked immediately. Okay. So see, going ahead, guys, we are going to learn Lean Six Sigma and TOC का combination. Have you heard about TOC? Have you heard about it?
No.
TOC, Theory of Constraints. Just go and Google it out. बहुत ही बढ़िया मेथोडोलॉजी है, सिमिलर टू लीन सिक्स सिग्मा. हम लोगों ने अभी जो यील्ड थ्रूपुट, रोल थ्रूपुट यील्ड निकाला, सिमिलरली वो लोग निकालते हैं, वीकेस्ट लिंक को ढूंढते हैं, दैट इज कॉल्ड अ कंस्ट्रेंट, एंड दैट कंस्ट्रेंट प्रोसेस इज अटैक्ड बाय यूजिंग लीन सिक्स सिग्मा प्रोसेस. ओके, तो हम लोग एडवांस स्टेजेस में जब जाएंगे, सो वी विल सी हाउ थियरी ऑफ कंस्ट्रेंट, लीन सिक्स सिग्मा कैन वर्क टुगेदर एंड deliver cracking results in the companies or organizations. Okay, amazing, fantastic. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions before we close the day? Fantastic, बहुत अच्छा interactive session हो रहा है ये. I will share all these PPTs with you, so you can just refer it later. Any question, you can SMS me, email me, or WhatsApp me. I will give you the answer. Yeah, any other question?
Not from my side.
Not now. Yes, Ashutosh, Nishant, anything?
No,
okay.
Not.
Great, fantastic.
No, not currently.
So thank you very much. So what we'll do, see, most probably you guys will get the login ID. हम लोगों ने उसको ये किया था, पर उसमें कुछ bugs आ रहे हैं. हमारे learning management system के बारे में बात कर रहा हूँ मैं. So once you get guys get that link of I think Sunday late evening या Monday पे को आपको मिलना चाहिए. There are a couple of bugs, people are working on that. Once that are fixed, तो आपको immediately you can switch over to that. अगर bugs नहीं solve होते, so what I have decided that we'll go back to the same system. I will give you that old system is fantastic, but उसमें integration नहीं था. That is the only challenge I have. Integration मतलब अगर for example let's say Ashutosh has completed defined phase. Okay, I will get to know that Ashutosh has completed defined phase, and I can send him a message that congratulations Ashutosh for completing one phase of this entire green belt, so that kind of systems are there, plus community is there. Community, यहाँ पे community बनाना थोड़ा सा separate काम है, यहाँ पे internally integrated community है, तो हम लोग immediately internally discussion कर सकते हैं, अपने related project के data के बारे में, brainstorming के बारे में discussion कर सकते हैं, so lot of things we can discuss. So community का भी support ये इस नए system में है, so I'm keen on shifting on the new process, इसलिए थोड़ा सा 2-3 दिन का time लग रहा है, but I'm sure that you guys will. अच्छा, by the way, वो जो e-book किसने पढ़ना शुरू किया? Honestly बोलो. Have you started reading? I'm not saying कि आपने complete किया, but at least started. It's hardly 100 पे year रहेगा वो book.
Not yet.
Okay. What about Nishant? What about Ashutosh? You guys have started? Just go through it. Just go.
Yeah, I have started. I've just read 2 or 3 pages, but I've started on that.
Fantastic, Ashutosh. Amazing. So आप ये कर सकते हैं while traveling या while whatever it is, just spend 10 minutes, read 2 pages, that's it, and be consistent on that. Okay, yeah. The moment you read, तो आपका जर्नी चालू already हो चुका है. You have yellow belt का curriculum, you have the live sessions which are happening. The moment you get that page, the book, so your already journey has started. And take down your doubts, take down your notes, and ask me whenever we are live. whenever you have my number as well, you have my WhatsApp. You can WhatsApp me if you have any difficulty or doubt in this. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much for turning up today and with the enthusiastic participation. Thanks a ton, and I wish you all the best in your learning in green belt, black belt, and the further studies. Thank you very much. Have a great evening ahead. Bye bye. We'll see you very soon.
Bye. Thank you, Dinesh. It was a
Bye-bye.
nice session. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ashutosh. Thank you very much.
Good night, all.
Thank you, Yatin.
Good night.
Thank you, Nishan.
Good night,
Thank you,
Yatin.
Smita. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye. Take care.